What's up, guys? Welcome back to Week 5, Day 3 of the OPL. Tectonic fell down Game 1 versus Legacy, but it was a slugfest, back and forward game. They bit, scratched, and clawed their way over the finish line, but it was not pretty, Mr. Bryce.
Yeah, it was one of those weird games where Legacy had probably over a 5,000 gold lead the entirety of the game almost, but just couldn't seem to close it out until the very bitter end, get themselves an Elder Drake, get themselves a teamfight victory, and chase down the Nexus.
Yeah, and it was a weird position to put yourself in because when you're against an Azir, when you were against a Sivir and a couple of tanks,
you don't want to be going
real
that
dicey going that late.
Yeah.
I think the saving grace there was the fact that Claire and Mimic's teamfight execution was still very good, and Raid stepped up to the plate in a big way. Yeah,
100% agree with you. I think Mimic was the big one, highlighting multiple times that game. He was fighting 3, 4-man Nara engages. Unfortunately for Legacy, it wasn't enough to get them the Baron, but netted them a few teamfight victories. And then Claire in that last teamfight, I think was the spread damage from Rise onto the front line, hit both carries in low and shock, and that was kind of the window that Legacy finally sees to be able to close out the victory.
Yeah, for sure. However, I do want to raise the fact that, Tahm Kench, Global Ultimate, they could have taken Tahm Kench and Sivir down into bottom lane and tried to siege the turret.
Yep.
Rise, Global Ultimate, they could have tried to go down and gank Paprise, force him off a turret, and then, teleport up to Baron. The lack of creativity for me from Legacy is really starting to become an issue.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there that Tahm Kench does have a lot of options, and they didn't really choose a whole lot of them. They chose the basic, the textbook Baron, like, yes, we're going to bait Baron, and then they're going to walk in and we're going to kill them. But unfortunately for them, they can never actually get more than a single kill here and there, and it was not enough. Tectonic low, laughing, looking pretty good after that victory. I feel like if they can replicate the same sort of scenario, which should be very hard, they were behind almost all of the game, but Tectonic week to week look like they just want to be playing the stalling game, and Legacy, if they just want to give it to them, then maybe picking up a win here.
Yeah, and it's so strange to say, because I heard that Laura said that Cyclone wants his team to stall disciplinedly.
Yep.
That is a strange objective to have.
It is.
Because ideally, I would like my team to win in 20 minutes every game. So to stall in a disciplined fashion is quite a strange objective. However, I will say that they are a disciplined team because they obviously do what he wants, because they stall a lot of their games out.
Yep, they absolutely did.
Urgot, Braum, as well as Kha'Zix banned away. Azir, Gangplank, and Kalista will be the bans from Tectonic. Rise instantly first picked, even with Zoe up and available.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe banking on the fact that Shock doesn't play it, but potentially Rise has been known to be a fairly decent matchup into that one. And I mean, Claire was successful that game early on in the game, throwing your minds back. Swade got those 2 early kills with him and Shock, and on the Kha'Zix was able to bully around Sybil once again, and that did mean Claire had a pretty rough time in the mid lane. Hopefully for him, doesn't want to be in that same situation again.
However, did pick up some big late game team fights. It could be potentially the Lovers duo lane locked in right now. Xayah, Rakan both up and available. That's what it's going to be. Legacy have played it. Chiefs have played it. I would say right now, Chiefs are the team that have played it to the best success.
Yep. I think it's one of those duos that just relies so much on the support, and I think Destiny is absolutely 100% the best Rakan we've seen so far, and his setups make it so easy for Raze to deal damage, so easy to win over those team fights, but interestingly, going to be that Cassio, and if he has the cleanse when Rakan engages onto the Snake, if she cleanses out that CC, and you can just hit him with a response ulti. A pretty short-range composition coming out of Legacy so far. Both carries, Rise and Xayah, will be in range for that ulti.
Yeah, and Shock's a really good Cassio.
Yep.
One of his best champions to watch him run around within solo queue. Shock's one of those players that actually plays a lot of solo queue.
Yep.
So whenever you spec high-low games, good chance that he will be in most of them. Nah going to be banned away this time, so some respect given to Mimic for the first time on that champion.
Yeah, I think deservedly so. We won't have a repeat of Game 1 top lane matchup there. Ornn obviously picked up again for Paprise, and I think it was fairly successful for the lineup of Tectonic. Stalling that game out, he was almost solely in charge of their engages time and time again. I
would like to see Camille banned away here as well.
Yep.
Because I really don't think you have... Oh, Jarvan. I was going to say, I don't think you have to ban Sybil's champion pool. He's shown that he can get picked on early game. And Swade's also a pretty good Jarvan player in his own right, so surprised that they banned that one away.
Yeah, but I feel like Sybil overall has looked the weakest on things like Zac and Sejuani.
Okay.
I think for the most part. Swade obviously with the Kha'Zix that is banned away by Legacy, so Sybil kind of a a renowned Zac player, and he's very good at it in the past. But in that game specifically, Swaith already shown that he can bully him around because he has that such a weak early game. Yep. Then his Sejuani has him or two crash hot, so banning away the Jarvan kind of forces him onto those two tanks because they've picked up their support already. Engage, but not tanky out of the Rakan. You have to think the tankiness will come from the jungle and top side of the map for Legacy.
And I wonder, actually, they go with the Camille pickup. That's a cool counter there. Give him a dive jungler, also takes away some of that threat that Mimic can pick it up in the top lane. And they're still holding the Ornn as a flex. I say it with hopeful ambitions of it being seen in support at least once before he gets nerfed into the ground. Yep. It's coming. You know it's coming with Ornn.
Yep, absolutely. Hopefully also with Gangplank. Get rid of him. Has been banned away this game, but I don't know, make him hit the deck.
Yeah, I'm not a big Gangplank fan. And it's going to be potentially a Fiora in the top lane. This would be exciting. Maybe this is the game that we get to see Mimic absolutely popping off. It is going to be the duelist up in the top lane.
And there's a lot of outplay potential so far for that Fiora already in terms of the Cassio ulti. Tilting. Got a hover his Sona, actually. One of his one tricks before he was a competitive player was known in solo queue as that Sona one trick there. So hovers that one out. He's looking at the Janna right now. That would be a very defensive lane in the bottom lane with that Ezreal already.
That would actually be a very hard lane to play.
He can't pick Sona.
Why not?
At level 6, Rakan will kill you every single time, but he respects it and he goes to Tahm Kench as well. So that seems to be one of the biggest answer for OPL teams in terms of the Rakan. We saw Sharp talk about it earlier.
But if you throw enough Qs at Rakan early and hit him with enough power chords, maybe he just never gets to level 6.
I mean, never? I feel like it's almost an inevitability in League of Legends. Eventually.
I like Sona. I know you don't like Sona.
She's actually so hard to make work because you require jungle pressure. Literally in competitive, you absolutely require it. Her base health is something like 400.
Yeah.
That's like the lowest in the game. They can just flash on you. They don't even, if Rakan just W's you and you flash away, they can just flash, follow, ignite. You have no dash, you have nothing. Like, you can just be chased down.
I understand why she's bad. I didn't say I think Sona's a good pick. I just said I like her.
Yep.
I like that she just talks to me the whole game.
Yeah, only you can hear me, Summoner. What masterpiece shall we play today?
I also like the fact that you know more League of Legends quotes than any movie
I can
quotes.
quote League. I can't quote a movie.
You're very good at League of Legends quotes. So,
my favorite quote in the game is Ivan. When he walks around, he's like, I love how the grass is fluffy on my toes. That is the best. When that champion got released, yes. The best thing to ever happen to League of Legends. And speaking of Ivan, Legacy were a big Ivan team when they had Carbon on the roster, but unfortunately for us here today, Ivan not in the meta. Nunu on the fringe, but will be the Sejuani picked up by the jungler of Legacy this time.
Is Ivan far off, though?
He's pretty fringe. I feel like he is playable. He's not a absolute gutter trash right now. He obviously fills that niche where...
Thank goodness. I hate absolute gutter trash champions.
Yep, like Sona. Potentially was more successful in 8.2 because you had hypercarries like the Kog'Maw and things like that running around. And now with those nerfs, unfortunately for the support junglers, you do get overshadowed by the tanks. Like
Certainly do. However, we are onto Summoner's Rift for game number 2 between Legacy and Tectonic. And Soul Strikes is ready to have a chat with Legacy's coach.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm standing here with Soul Strikes. You were able to play a series against Avad on Friday. What were you able to take away or learn about your team from that series? I
think us so far, we have really good grasp of early mid game, but it's just the Baron dance, it's like really bad. So like we really need to work on it. It still has a lot of holes, and yeah, we just need to look back, and I'll give them a lot of feedback.
Tectonic have only pulled Urgot out once in week 1, but still you and other teams are continuously banning that against them. What's the reasoning behind this?
Shock thinks Urgot counters Ryze, and Ryze is a very popular mid champ right now, so it's better to ban Urgot and have options to play Ryze later into the draft.
And we've also got Mimic pulling out Fiora in that top lane. How do you think he'll go into Ornn today?
It's going well in scrim, so Ornn versus Fiora, he's played it plenty of matchups, so I hope he plays it safe early because Ornn still has kill pressure early, and he should be able to split push to victory later.
Well, it's definitely exciting to see. Good luck with this series, and thank you for talking to us.
All right, thank you.
All right, so Ornn can still kill you early.
Has that ignite? Has the spell book?
Yep, certainly is a potential. Obviously, Camille has a very good gank into Fiora as well, because even though Fiora stops the CC coming through and returns it if riposted well enough, also has to be immobile while that's happening. See, Papari's getting level 2 earlier.
Bit of a fight down the bottom lane, you have to think low, but both summoners, Ignite was ticking. So the W might have landed onto Decoy.
Yep.
That's going to be a big deal out of Tectonic's bottom lane.
Also
this matchup
with Doran's Blade. That's a really... As soon as I see Desire Rakan, I'm like, you have to start Shield. Because they're going to play up in your grill. And he might actually have to recall here. That's a very early base.
Yeah, will be. Level 1, tilting. Trying to block out any damage that would come. Actually, we don't know what he was doing, to be honest. He just can't 1v2 the lane, just kind of hanging around.
Yeah, I mean, he can't do anything right now. Swaith goes for a cheeky peek into the Raptor camp.
He's behind Claire.
Yeah. Looking for potentially a gank to come out onto Legacy's mid laner. Will not be able... Oh, he actually does hit him. Gets a stun down as well. Gets a truckload of damage, and Claire will walk that one out. Bold by Claire. Returns a lot of the damage there as well.
Yeah, he does, actually. 5 seconds still on that E. So, Swaith can't quite close the gap once again. Heal still available for Claire, but Sybil is here.
Yeah,
the ward will show him.
Full health as well, nearly. So that means that Swaith now will struggle to regain control of this Raptor camp. Knows that Sybil is doing it. So will they go over the wall? You can see they look for the stun. In they go. Shock looking for some of the damage. Has to flash away Sybil from the grounding. Shock, does he go over the wall? Yes, he does. He lands the poison one. Where is the second Twin Fangs? He picks it up for first blood.
And Shock's Cassiopeia, first blood already. Only 3, almost 4 minutes into the game. And Claire once again in this mid lane matchup. Wasn't necessarily his fault, but unfavorable already.
Yeah, exactly right. He actually had Shock pushed in. He was doing everything he could. He'd already been ganked. He held both summoner spells. He returned damage, but Sybil goes for some greedy counter jungling. Has to burn the flash away, and then Shock willing to burn the summoner spells to pick up the double buffs, which is certainly worthwhile.
And it actually was pretty interesting that he had to flash on the end of that one.
Oh, Claire actually in big trouble. This time he will have to burn the heal. And he still falls very low. Well played out of Shock.
No flash available, obviously, because he used it for the first kill, so can't follow any further. Cleanse still up. But I was saying, Paparize was coming from the top lane. Was chased by Mimic, but he would have been able to pick up the kill. But Shock obviously wanted that one from himself. This matchup can snowball incredibly hard if he can keep getting the jungle pressure from Swaith. Obviously, flash advantage goes over to him in the jungle pool, so in terms of ganking mid lane, they still have big options.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that now with the double buff there, he's going to be able to weave auto attacks in for that slow onto Rise. Means the chase potential is even higher. You can see a 12 CS lead. Cassiopeia already beats out Rise in a lot of situations. This just makes it work. And has a Negatron cloak already.
Yeah. So it's a big purchase already. Pings were going out by Swaith, or onto Swaith rather, is showing on that ward near the crab. So we'll be on vision right now, potentially trying to get in behind Legacy's bottom lane. Does he go over the wall? He does. And he's pink.
Doesn't have E available. They know he's there. Will engage onto him. He has to flash away. All of a sudden now, Shock, however, looking for the miasma and the grounded. Will take some damage from Claire, but you can see that Negatron cloak is really helping him out.
Yeah, and greedy pathing out of Swaith actually loses his flash. Oh, he's going.
Yeah, he does a lot of damage there onto Sybil. Will be able to continue this chase forward. Hits it and able to knock Decoy, but however, goes into the red buff pit.
You have to think if he timed this slightly better, if he wasn't visible on that ward in the river and he still had that flash, that could have potentially been another kill onto Sybil, but unfortunately for Swaith, does not have that one available.
He does lots of damage.
Yeah, he does. And all he has is that jungle item, that green smite. Both AD carries the entire time actually just stood in the bottom lane.
Is it Relentless Pursuit that when you use a gap closer gives you
bonus? Isn't that Lucian-y?
Oh, yeah. What's the Relentless Hunter?
Or in the domination
tree. It's
not sudden impact. It's
no, maybe it is sudden impact.
No, it actually is sudden impact. The dash one,
Yeah, sudden impact. Maybe it's sudden impact that actually makes him do so much damage after his E.
Yeah, absolutely. Level 6 is hit up here by Mimic and Paparize. Paparize has no mana here, so went for the early Bramble Best, and this is kind of what we saw with a fall off of Fiora and split pushers like her that rely on the lifesteal against the tanks. When Bramble was so strong, obviously it has been nerfed now, but it's just so easy to itemize into that one and negate a lot of the damage, negate a lot of the healing potential that they do rely on in this matchup. So
it's just the fact you don't have to take it any further.
Yep.
Like
it will sit on half the component,
Yeah, and now he'll build up something like, you know,
Frozen Gauntlet, Frozen Fist,
yep,
Frozen Heart. I just said 3 names and 2 items. Mimic looking for the trade here again.
Got to say it with confidence, though. You just got to let people are like, wow, I'm going to go find this third item that Bryce is building.
What is Frozen Fist? What's that one?
Shocker, after picking up their first blood, is actually starting to get bullied around a little bit by Claire. Claire using the range of the Rise very nicely.
Does get hit by the Q, so has to back away from the trade there.
Sybil, level 6, now looking potentially towards the bottom lane. If Low and Tilting get hit by this, could be big trouble. Does not happen, however. They go onto Tilting, and the heal doesn't actually get anywhere near him. Grey health will be enough potentially to get him out of there. They burn a lot, however, kill does go across for Legacy.
So heal burn from Low and the flash from Tilting. Nice target selection there. You can't go on the Ezreal because he will just get devoured up. So they go on the Tahm Kench, pops the grey health, but they just wait that one out. Ulti comes out of raid to secure that one at the back end of the fight, looking for more onto Low.
Yeah, and they know that right now. Yeah, they know right now that Camille isn't on that side of the map.
Shock is coming.
Shock is trying to come down.
And he's enough.
Teleport wasn't available. Is that enough? I think they could have just stuck around and done it.
I mean, potentially there. Doesn't have the flash available for the Snake, so can't really get onto the back line of
but still,
Legacy's
that's a great trade. They've got so much damage. They can still go for dives if they want afterwards. That's a really nice proactive play that's come out of Legacy.
And that's not something you expect from the early game out of Legacy, to be honest. But the big thing is also they didn't really have to burn any summoners. And the big one is Rakan Flash. They obviously burnt the Ignite to secure that kill, but that means the heal is already gone from Low. So once they hit level 6, it's just going to be so easy to get onto any member they choose, whether it's Swathe, whether it's the bot lane, or whether they walk to mid and try and transition some of this pressure onto Shock.
Swathe and Tilting go on the duo mission into Raptor Camp, trying to pick up her camp for Swathe here.
Trio now.
Yep, Shock comes across. Potentially looking for a red buff, maybe even a ward over onto the Raptor, the Krug camp.
King goes out into Sybil, and Paprise will face check him, so they know exactly where the Legacy jungler is right now. He's up about one camp over Swathe, but fairly even between the two now, and fairly even across the board, really. Just that 20 CS lead in the mid lane. Shock obviously had that first blood, so pretty expected stuff out of this matchup there. I'm curious to see where the first big play of the match is right now.
It has to be bottom lane, you think.
Earth Drake is up, so we don't have an Infernal, but we also don't have an Air. So things around there do actually matter here, and you have to assume, the bottom lane. It is very defensive from Tectonic, and it will be Legacy having to set that one up. Xayah Rakan does make it incredibly easy. Decoy somehow forces back Swathe. Obviously no vision of anyone else. Didn't know where Sybil was, so does back away from the support.
Also lost sight of the Rakan. Not Rakan, Xayah. So you don't want to fight the Rakan if Xayah can be nearby. Claire trying to get access back to the mid lane. They watch a greedy route.
They watch Sybil walk down the river, so they know that he can't be around here.
That's a great Cassio ulti. Where's the stun? Will not land. Flash is burnt as well as teleport.
Two big summoners gained by Tectonic there. Claire's flash TP are not available for Mimic. He does cancel, but Paprizers will be up soon, so they potentially have a numbers mismatch. This means the play from Legacy actually making it now.
Eaten out of that, and Low will just eat backwards. Decoy starting to take some damage.
Sybil's behind though.
Yeah, it certainly is. They throw the ultimate one more time at Tilting. Very low health bar. However, big ultimate coming out means that Raid also has to burn his ulti.
A lot of damage going everywhere right now. The turret is incredibly low. Half HP on the bottom lane from Tectonic, but Swathe is coming down here. No ultis available for Legacy on the bottom hand side of the map, so do they look for anything? No, they're just looking around back mid. Swathe really wants to get onto Claire, but can Legacy get the turret?
Aware of the fact that Swathe is just currently hovering between, so they can never really commit for this objective, especially if you bring Shock down into the lane. So the turret will survive. Meanwhile, in top lane, you can see that Papyrus had been forced out. Mimic has got himself a 5 CS advantage.
Yep, Tectonic would have been wishing that Legacy went for round 2 there with TP advantage in the top lane. Ornn could get in behind, but
Legacy actually used the eat there, so in they go. Misses the knock-up, however. Tilting does take some damage, but they do not commit for the kill.
Can't commit too hard there onto the spot because Low will be dishing out damage time and time again.
Ignite was available, and they have all their other summoner spells.
Yep.
With no eat available.
With Sybil in the base there, with him actually shadowing behind, but was doing camps.
Yep.
They don't want to commit the summoner right now. If they can make another big play with those summoners, they could get kills. Not just the one, but 2 and a turret maybe, so playing with a bit of respect there.
All right. We'll see the map return to a little bit of normalcy now. Waves all neutral, apart from top lane, which is still being shoved in.
As you expect.
That Tiamat.
Level 9 right now, so as this goes on and on, we saw Soul Strikes allude to, this matchup will get better. Fiora will start winning the split push. Obviously, we're only 12 minutes into the game, but the lead, almost negligible between these two teams. 600 gold in Tectonic's favor, but no really big play coming across from either side just yet. Shock is cheating to the top side of the map, though.
They're probably just looking to put down a pink ward. Actually, he fancies himself a Rift Scuttle. Cassiopeia misses the poison. That's just a bummer.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot more time here, and he will actually show on the ward. So Legacy know exactly where he is. Swathe hovering around the mid lane again. He really wants to get this return gang onto Claire. Flash still unavailable, and he's up for both Shock and Swathe. So if the CC can land from Swathe, follow that up by the Flash W grounding effect. Does mean that Claire should fall down in this one, but Sybil in his back pocket on the bottom side as well.
Yeah, very interesting that Shock actually just goes into the lane and shoves it as hard as he possibly can. You can see right now bottom lane turret will fall down.
They don't even need more members. That's just in the isolated 2v2 after the earlier play. Ulti. Mimics a lane ultier. On Nah, he just throws people into the wall.
I mean, that looked like all 4 procs.
Yep.
Paparize still has like nearly full health.
Yeah.
So obviously the kill threat not yet there, but some good bully potential so far.
Paparize very low in mana.
Oh, Ultimate actually
Camille's
called
here.
out. Camille is here, gets knocked up, does Mimic, however, very good use of the ultimate, stuns up Paparize, but Swaith's ulti will still hold her still for a little bit. This is a strange play, however, they're looking for it. Swathe goes in. Turret aggro is being held by Paparize for the longest time. Shock will grab that kill. Very nice execution on a top lane dive.
And honestly, very well played by Mimic as well. The riposte comes through to dodge the CC, but 3v1, nothing he can do. Goes down at the end of that. Paparize tanked up the turret perfectly there. Didn't have to burn anything else, but Legacy, they get the Dragon. They've already got bot turret. Can they get mid as well?
Yeah, it looks like they're going to do a lot of damage. Decoy, however, does take a slow underneath the turret and will take some return damage. Taste is being acquired. You can see also blue buff invade happening at the same time. Will be stolen away by Claire.
Looking for the snipe on the side of low. And they do take down that turret after the kill onto Mimic. TP is still available for the Fiora, but looks like he's actually just going to deploy on the bottom-hand side of the map. 14 minutes will be the map flip by Legacy.
Yeah, I think that's a good move. I think Legacy right now in the 2v2 definitely is stronger. You put them in a longer lane, that problem is only exacerbated right now for Tectonic. See, tiers are plenty still stacking up. Abyssal Mask for Shock. So he's going a very heavily scaling build. Abyssal Mask tier plus Morellonomicon is going to be the build.
But already has those 2 kills, so the build will be accelerated somewhat.
Paparize's tough.
TP out of Paparize to mid. Potentially thought Legacy were looking for more than they are right now. Actually just going top. They're looking for this outer low.
Low's in
Might
trouble by himself in that bottom lane. Slow comes out, actually burns the heal. And you can see right now, very conscious of the Tahm Kench ulti, so Mimic will back away.
Yeah, he does, but this does give Legacy avenue to the top side of the map. Sybil actually using the tempo to take down the Rift Herald, but the bottom lane of Raid and Decoy should be able to take this one down with the help of that Demolish proc.
Going to make short work of it. You can see right now, potential Tahm Kench ulti coming down into the bottom lane. Brush, they're pinging the on the way. They can use the Call of the Forge God if they would like for a slow, but instead they just chase him off, looking to zone, potentially looking to pick up bottom lane turret.
Legacy have the tempo here. They do also get the Rift Herald very soon. That mid-outer turret is incredibly low. Tectonic still taking their time to take down that turret, so it will be answered 1 for 1. But Legacy, 5 members approaching the mid lane right now. Swathe might be caught by the Fiora. Can he just go over the wall? He does.
Looking to just run away. However, Mimic, if he gets that Vital, will have access to a speed up. Swathe puts it. Oh, very nice flash. Because that was double ultimate burnt for him, and he would have died if either hit.
But the bot lane of Tilting and Low still whacking away at this turret. Legacy don't choose to go down and force them off, but they do get that mid lane outer. Cost them a Rift Herald. Actually, no. They just get it for free. Sybil still has that one available there. So.
I mean, it was about 200 health.
Yeah. But I mean, they all just ran into the bot side of the jungle. They all just chased Swathe. Yep. So, Sejuani just whacking away at that one with Raid, I think, who stayed in the mid lane. So it does finally go down.
See, gold advantage is right now. Big gold advantage for Shock. However, the rest of the team either even or behind. It's really jungle, actually, that has the gold lead.
Yep. The goal between the two teams right now, total. Dead even, 16 minutes into the game right now. Earth Dragon on the side of Legacy, so they have that in terms of Baron. Rise and Cassio, 2 big Baron threats on opposite sides of the team here, so especially with that, that mountain, maybe will fix Legacy's troubles coming into game 2.
Xayah does Baron very quickly as well. So Rise Xayah certainly going to look to put pressure on it this game. And their turn is just fantastic. If there's ever a game where Legacy should be able to execute cleanly on a Baron take, would be this one, as Decoy now gets stunned up and takes a lot of his health.
Sway just sitting on the Sheen, and the Warrior does not even have the Triforce yet, dealing out tons of damage. But lots of members of Tectonic in the mid lane right now.
Goes back in as well. Sybil is there. Leg sweep doesn't hit. You see, I think that's the second time they've interrupted like a sweeper to try and clear away that ward.
But this did give time for Claire to push in the top lane. He's going to rotate down. Does have the Realm Warp available right now. The bot lane of Tectonic have to respect it, but Paprise on the other side of the map is pushing up. So it might just be matched. Decoy.
Potentially looking for tilting. Is starting to get a little bit tanky, however, so not the member you necessarily want. Sybil can be stunned up here. No. Swaith doesn't go for it.
That 50% left on the Rift Herald. So Legacy with the outer ring of structures already taken down. We'll have to choose very carefully what the turret they want to look for this one.
Potentially can drop it into Mimic's lane to give him even more pressure in this split push, because he is struggling to make it crash.
Yeah, potentially though, with the Dragon, you can just drop Rift Herald on the other side of the map, force the response from Tectonic, and then set up and take an objective. With Baron spawning in 2 minutes as well, Dragon 1.5, but they look like they're looking for Shock right now. His Cleanse and Flash is available. Swaith is going to spot it out.
Yeah, exactly right. So Swaith able to run Interceptor, will be able to hook shot over the wall. Very nicely played by Tectonic's jungle. And the game is in another lull, and I feel like neither of these teams really this time around are looking for any form of acceleration. They're both happy scaling. The game hasn't been burst wide open. It's only 300 gold at about 20 minutes in between these two. Both rather defensive comps.
Low got himself an Elixir of Iron right now, so that's a very big Ezreal standing tall of the Tahm Kench. That looks a little weird, especially only 18 minutes into the game. Swade actually looking for something onto Claire.
Yeah, certainly is. That ultimate will whip. However, they go in with everything. Tilted flash for him, but he got tied up in the ultimate. Now they eat up Sybil, but he's just not that tasty, so he spits him back out and nothing really happening. Two members of Tectonic will fall down.
And Tilting finds out the hard way, this Rakan versus Tahm Kench matchup. When you go in to try and save one, he does get hit by the taunt. Paprise actually has to flash away, so unfortunately for Tilting, tries to save his jungler, flashes into the charm, gets CC'd up with him, and then goes down. But this will be the turret after Legacy. Dropped that Rift Herald finally. Was expiring fairly soon.
Immediately buys himself a Null Magic Mantle. You have to think, no, actually gets himself a cloth armor as well, so probably going to be a Locket of the Iron Solari. I was going to say, maybe he's just going to hit himself up with a QSS so he can make that play work in the future.
Out of all of the supports, Tahm Kench is the one that buys QSS the most. I feel like then it drops off to whoever's playing against the Malzahar for the most part, but bit of a reset right now. Shock going to pick up that blue buff. 20 seconds on Baron spawning, and you're going to have some time on the map right now to clear out that vision. Legacy have a ton of vision on the top side of the map. 3 wards in the mid lane, but they know exactly where Swaith is right now. They know exactly where the bottom and mid lane of Tectonic are. They're looking to match. Yeah,
but they also need to make sure that they're still taking the right fights, even though they are in the driver's seat now. They're a couple of thousand gold up. They are looking for Claire. See whether they can find him at all. Does not look like that is the case.
Travel time just too long in that ability there, so Claire just walks out, doesn't have to use either Summoner or the ulti.
What I was going to say is if you just check in with Mimic's item build, he going with a Trinity Force. So this is definitely a pure split push for Fiora. So even though they're heading gold, they should be using this for vision, for control over the waves, for priority, not looking for 5v5 team fights, because Paprise will be more influential if it comes down to a straight front-to-back team fight.
Yeah, and honestly, Tectonic right now, they do have decent control of the bottom-hand side of the map, and that's probably why you see Mimic right now just doing his golems. Doesn't want to push up too far. He will see Paprise shortly on the top side of the map, so he knows he's safe.
Can they actually look for the fight here? Because they walk into a choke. There were 4 members around. However, Tectonic do not pull the trigger on that call of the Forge God.
They just started, they do.
They're just going to start up the Baron and say, hey, we're here. If you want to come contest, but we do this real quick.
Yep, Mimic actually on the way pinged the turret, does not want to join the TP.
Fine, doesn't have that available. Comes out, stun already onto Sybil. Somehow he dashed over the grounding. That didn't look right at all. Shock still looking to chase in here. We'll be able to chase away Sybil. Flash, Hextech ultimatum, Sybil will fall down. And now it just becomes a game of chicken. Does Mimic still push for the turret, or do they turn around and go for the Baron now with Sybil dead?
Tectonic looking for the Baron. Both carries alive, and Decoy still has Flash and Ultimate available, so he can lock down every single member.
Over the wall, they go onto Decoy. They actually get a chunk onto Swaith, who's the jungler. Paprise is taking so much damage, and the game of chicken will be won by Legacy. Flash forward by Claire. Now he's going to look for the top laner as well. Paprise in deep, deep trouble. Where is the Rune Prism? There it is, will be available. And Mimic is still going. There is no stopping him.
Yep, 20 seconds on Swaith, 40 on Paprise. The 3 members of Tectonic are just chasing out Claire here. Does he die? No slows really available. Tom Kench ulti's coming to play.
Taking a lot of damage, however, on the back end of it. Speed up will be there. The Do-Si-Do Iceborne Gauntlet does land. He's just trying to dance around. He nearly picks up.
The shield!
The shield is there, and Claire will somehow live on the back end of this. And now Tom Kench will just be CC'd up. Second base turret falls as Raid joins Mimic. And Tectonic fumble the play.
And disciplined stall play is not losing your inhib to a Fiora. It's not chasing the kill onto Claire and losing that other turret. Legacy will find themselves around the Baron once more with no contest coming out from Swaith, you'd have to think.
And Legacy, funnily enough, whilst they didn't look good starting the Baron, looked very good interrupting the stall from the Baron.
Yep.
And being able to take control of this map now with the base wide open with an 8,000 gold lead. And the stronger split pusher, they have the Baron buff.
Yeah, but in saying that, it's very difficult for Tectonic to actually bait around the Baron. Of course, they've got the engage out of Swaith, but they take a lot of damage from the big purple worm. And then Legacy, if you funnel as a team Tectonic into that pit, you have Rakan able to knock so many members up. You have the Rise AoE damage. You have Xayah, who can just rip those feathers through all of you. So they do initially find a pick onto Sybil, but it's just not enough. And Mimic ripping apart the base.
Yeah, exactly right. So Mimic, he sticks with the play. He was very confident that that was the right play. He was never going to join the team fight. As we said, Trinity Force Fiora certainly should not be looking to join the team fight.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that, no hesitation at all. You guys stop the Baron, I take everything else.
And I mean, there was no hesitation. As soon as they blue orbed the Baron and they saw Tectonic, a ping goes onto that turret. Mimic's like, no, I'm pushing this lane. I'm pushing the turret. I'm breaking the base. Had really no way of getting to the fight anyway. Tilting's looking for something potentially, but no, just backs away.
Yeah, cannot go for anything here. Grounding goes down. Paprise looks for the engage, but it's not going to happen. And now, big creep wave bottom. Actually, they go over the wall, misses it. However, now able to get something on the back end. Paprise misses the call of the Forge God return. So Mimic looking to just continue to shove in.
Yeah, doesn't get locked down by Swaith. No, just out of range of the ulti. And chokes are just so hard for Legacy to chase into, especially 4v5. With the Cassio around the wall, the pink in the bush means they can't face check that one. If she gets a multiple man stun, that could be game over for Legacy here, so they respect it. Mimic tried to get a bit of damage on the mid lane, but just walks away ultimately.
Yeah, and again, Claire caught back up in this game. Even though Shock had double buffs, Claire's back ahead in experience, 2-0-3. Going to be back up in CS quite soon. 7 stacks on that Dark Seal. Here's a Dark Seal mid laner.
100%. Normally you see him with 6, but he's got the bonus one here. Legacy with the Baron walking those creeps in to the mid lane. They're going to have some time with this, but Tectonic nowhere to be found right now.
Yeah, exactly right. Looks like they're actually giving them up. Paprise cannot go toe-to-toe with Mimic anymore. The damage is just too high. You can see at this stage of the game, only 24 minutes in, they honestly can't clear out the Baron up creeps effectively either. So that second inhibitor will fall down, and they have to fight sooner rather than later because Rise is already working on the top lane turret.
Yeah, but unfortunately for them, they've only got one button. Xayah can get out of that one with the ulti there, decoy. Very quick with the re-engages here, so on ulti, very broadcast. Difficult for Tectonic to find the window, but they have to look soon. Q lanes up to Raid, a bit of damage, but does have to E away from Bristle there.
And this is just going to be the slow bleed. Legacy starting to put the screws in. Mimics is just sitting there waiting. Actually, Call of the Forge got used. They will look for the knock-up. It hits 2 members.
Oh, nice
but the turnaround is already there. Swaith will be blown up. Good ultimate out of Shock will equalize that trade. But a massive ultimate out of Xayah does so much damage. And now Shock is only the last man standing. Paprise being chased out of his own base by Raid. And you can see they're going for the kill here. Nexus turrets under fire. Shock under fire. 1 versus 4. This is going to be the impossible. You see Claire just corralling him to his fountain, looking for that damage. Eventually, we'll just prioritize it. Claire actually falling very low. Might die here. Serath will be burnt. Legacy, they'll pick up a clean 2-0.
Super Creeps finally end the game there. Legacy game 1. Decide they want to play PvP. Fight around the Baron, but unfortunately, wasn't looking too good. Next game, they go into it. PvE, Fiora in the side lane. Mimic just hit the turrets. That comes up with a much cleaner victory, much earlier as well. Only about 25 minutes there, I think.
Yeah, it certainly was. And that time around, it wasn't a proactive Baron call.
Yep.
The one for Legacy. It was a reactive Baron call.
It was the punish there. They do find themselves with a broken base on the side of Tectonic. Legacy with an uncontested Baron, and it's just so easy with a 1-3-1. to end that game with the Baron. It's such a big swim point there. Tectonic were looking for the engage. They were stuck in their base. 3 lanes of super creeps coming in, and they just couldn't find it. Yeah,
and unfortunately for Tectonic, Legacy really do prove that there still is that gap between the top 5 teams right now and the bottom 3 teams. Tectonic able to take a game off Avant, but not able to replicate it this week. And I think that Legacy, they were just able to slow play in areas that Tectonic looked like they were starting to panic in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was a decent showing for Legacy. Game 1, obviously significantly messier than Game 2, but I feel like they have showed that they can play multiple styles now. The Fiora,
yeah, that was cool,
is a good thing, especially because Mimic is probably the single player in the whole of the OPL that receives the most target bans. Everybody seems to ban the Camille, ban the Gangplank minimum, and then start to picking away the Ornn, the Gnar.
I think Shock would like to contest you on that.
Ooh.
Shock every week against Order. Shock cop 5 bans.
Yep, this is true.
He's been forced onto Zillion. His Urgot's gone every single week.
We'll figure it out.
Everyone target bans Shock.
Yep.
I want to do the math quickly, but Mimic also does receive a lot of bans as well, and I think that if you can play split push to a high degree in Oceania, you put teams under a lot of pressure because they don't necessarily respond to that well.
Yeah, absolutely. Teams in OS want to just fight. They want to 5v5. We were talking about it, the likes of Sin, things like that. That's how they thrive, and I mean, even me personally, I think in the meta it's very difficult to pull off an actual proper split push because you just have so many go buttons. If you're picking a Zac and Ornn and Ali, things like that, they're all very prominent champions in the meta. It's just so easy to force around the Baron. It's so easy to start a fight. So if you can play things like the Fiora, and if your 4 can play disciplined enough to kind of tickle the enemy, keep them around, but not get caught out there, it's very important.
Yeah, it certainly was, and that's how they won that game. And to hear from one of the victorious Legacy members, let's throw it over to Laura and Blinky.
Thank you very much, guys. Blinky and I are joined here by Sybil, Legacy's jungler. Congratulations on the win. How does it feel grabbing a 2-0 sweep today over Tectonic?
It's nice. It's nice to get, but it's just sort of, it's just another win at the moment. Like, we're just taking each game at a time, you know. Like, we've had a couple like rough losses, and yeah, I guess Tainted Minds, not Tainted Minds, Tectonic, they haven't been the strongest team this split so far, so we really wanted the 2-0 today.
Speaking of those rough weeks you guys have been having, how has it influenced your motivation and preparation coming into the Super Week this week?
Like, it's not really demotivating us, you know. If anything, it's motivating us more. But, you know, it is just like hard going in. It's coming out of losses like the Chiefs one and the AV one, which, you know, we go 2-1 down. It's rough, like, losing games where you're so close to winning, like against Mars, you know, where we get backdoored and stuff. You know, it's really rough losing those games because, you know, you could have so easily just had a 2-0. But this game is, you know, it's a game of inches, so, like, we can't, like, we have to account for that, you know? Like, it's in our control. Like, we have to be winning those games.
Yeah, and speaking about those inches, I've noticed you're a very early objective controller. Do you prioritize early objectives over tempo? Like, do you think that it's more important to get that early objective?
Back in the day, I didn't like dragons.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, yeah. But these days, I think I've sort of noticed how easy it is to just sort of walk up to a dragon when you've got bot priority. Like, and because the meta feels really slow at the moment, it's just safer to go for a drag than to just run it into their jungle and like try and kill people. So yeah, I guess it just seems like the right kind of thing to do.
Yeah. How do you feel going from Avant to Legacy? How do you think like the teams are different, and how do you think a new atmosphere has changed you as a person and the way that you approach the game?
Loaded question. I'd say it's definitely different. Yeah. Lucio has a very different coaching style to Charlie, so I'm getting used to that. But it's very. I really enjoyed it so far.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Oh, I enjoyed both.
Okay. But Avant more, right?
Can't say.
No Kobe.
Can't say.
Yeah,
no Kobe. Yeah, I'll just say Legacy. AV was better.
Yeah.
But it's been a very different approach, and I've sort of felt myself play the game a bit differently and like improve because of that. Yeah.
I want to ask you about Mimic because I've heard some really funny and wacky stories about him in the gaming house. What's he like to live with?
He is like, he's just somehow so quickly he just became so cultured into I guess into our society. I don't know. He just came in and started saying all these weird memes like from America and Australia. I don't know. It was just really weird. He says the funniest stuff.
Does he say top die?
Yeah. He says like the standard like top die.
Go, go, go.
Yeah, kill. Yeah, just all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I heard a story where he always asks if he can dive or something, and everyone's looking on the map for where the jungler is and freaking out, and you have to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm often, he's always like asking if he can play aggressive, and I'm always like, I would probably rather you just sort of wait until we know where their jungler is. Yeah.
So, Legacy, is there a goal this split to be in the grand finals? And if so, what do you think the team needs to work on to get there, this split?
Our goal is, of course, to be in the grand final. Like, that's what we wanted from day one. It's like been a rough path so far, and we're not like high up on the ladder yet. But with Gauntlet, with the way Gauntlet works, like as long as you're a good team when Gauntlet comes, like you can reach the final. So we're kind of just taking it like, get to the Gauntlet and be a good team by then, because we really just need to focus on our game at the moment, because we are still making like too many mistakes. We're not clean enough to beat every team in the OPL yet, so
just on that, what do you think your biggest flaws right now are?
This is some knowledge being picked up by Avant, right?
I'm just asking for Gauntlet so that we can beat you again.
Yeah.
Quick 3-0
what about you, Miles?
So, I feel like our weaknesses are around the Baron, 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Around the Baron, yeah.
Just pulling out some legacy strengths, I guess.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
I feel you on that, yeah. The Baron it's a tough one.
It is a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah,
we'll get there one day.
Baron's a tough one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, congratulations on your win today, Sybil. And thank you for joining us on the couch. Also, a big thank you to Blinky for joining us today. It's been a lot of fun having you here in your Avant banters. But to close out our very first Super Week, we're going to hand it back over to Jake and Bryce.
Thank you very much. Really, that was...
I think Sybil just hit us with the understatement of the century. Baron's a tough one. After what we saw today, come on, man. It's that's more than a tough one, I reckon, for the tree.
It is. It's honestly, Baron is one of those things that it's a finicky beast.
Yeah.
Because if you are a fantastic Baron team, then it makes the game incredibly easy.
Yep.
But if you are like bad to good at times, it can honestly cost you the game.
Yep.
So, I mean...
It's so 50-50, It's so easy to mess up there. Can win you games, can also lose you games, despite the goal deficit there. Does so much damage.
But at the end of the day, they didn't need it today. They were able to pick up a quick 2-0. So take that, Miles. At the same time, let's pull up the standings on the screen right now. It is going to be the Direwolves 6-0, 16 points, sitting pretty at the top. Order will be second place with still a game to play there, 13 points. Chiefs, of course, third right now with 12 points. Legacy are ahead of Avant with 11 points, and Avant Gaming 10 points will round out the top 5. Sin Gaming, Bombers, and Tectonic, all with a game to play. All struggling at the moment.
Yeah, they do really need to start picking up those points. Haven't had the easiest schedule so far. I mean, it's kind of interesting talking about it as a whole, right? When you have like such a clear top 5 and a bottom 3, looking at strength of schedule for like the bottom 3, what is an easy week, depending on the groups they're in. Yep. I think it's Bombers, Tectonic that share a group.
Yep.
So those two play each other there, but unfortunately, whenever they go up against anyone else, it's a bit of a rough game.
Yeah, it certainly is. We bring up the next week, Super Week schedule for you. Of course, it is Headspace round. It's going to be Tectonic kicking it off on Friday night at 5 p.m. versus the Chiefs Esports Club before Sin Gaming take on the boys from Order. Avant Gaming on Saturday will then complete the Order back-to-back at 2 p.m. before Legacy take on the Direwolves in what will be a must-watch blockbuster. That Saturday is actually spicy as all heck. In hindsight, Sunday will be Sin versus the Chiefs before Bombers take on Tectonic to round out the Headspace round. And is it just Saturday? Is that where we're looking now?
I mean, there's games all over the place. I think Sin in terms of like Chiefs taking on them. Game 1 of the weekend there, Friday, and Game 3 as well. Playing against some tough opponents there, but we do have to look at that Saturday. That's some spicy matchups there. Good for some good games.
It certainly is. Hopefully we get lots of games for Headspace round, as it is such an important cause. I cannot wait to be involved with that. However, that is all the OPL action we have here for Super Week 1, the Lunar New Year Super Week. So on behalf of myself, Ejim, everyone that's joined us on the Analyst Hangout this week, and Laura, and our entire production crew, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's go get some Hungry Jacks. Go to bed because it's been a lot of League of Legends.
Yeah.
wall. Yes, he does. He lands the poison one. Where is the second twin fangs? He picks it up for first blood. They go in with everything. Tilted flash for him, but he got tied up in the ultimate. Now they eat up Sybil, but he's just not that tasty, so he spits him back out. Comes out, stun already on the Sybil. Somehow he dashed over the grounding. That didn't look right at all. Shock still looking to chase in here. We'll be able to chase away Sybil. Flash, Hextech ultimatum. Sybil will fall down. Paprise is taking so much damage, and the game Michigan will be won by Legacy. Flash forward by Claire. He nearly picks up. The shield! The shield is there, and Claire will somehow live on the back end of this. And now Tom Kent will just be CC'd up. Second base turret falls as Ray joins Mimic. Waiting, actually Paul the force got used. They will look for the knock-up. It hits 2 members, but the turnaround is already there. Swaith will be blown up. Good ultimate out of Shock will equalize that trade, but a massive ultimate out of Zaya does so much damage, and now Shock is only the last man standing. Eventually, we'll just prioritize it. Claire actually falling very low. Might die here. Seraph will be burnt. Legacy, they'll pick up a clean 2-0.